it's a very lame excuse, for not planning, and I know it. And that's why this topic is really touching me very deeply. Hello, today is day 92, and so that means by our countdown we have just 8 days more. 8 days more. 8 days more. I'm so excited. If you can tell, it's very sunny today, but as usual, I'm going to remove this because let's talk eye to eye. So we're going to talk about the power of planning. Yes, the power of planning. And yesterday we talked about the power of discipline. We had a guest with us. It was such an exciting time. Yay! Shout out to you, Pastor Yinka. Thank you once again. If you've not seen yesterday's video, do check the link below in the description box. Everything is linked there, and you'll be able to check it out and give us your 2 cents, as we always say. So today, what we're talking about planning is that yesterday Pastor Yinka talked about planning in a sense, because she said discipline is something that you can apply to your plans in order to actualize your goals. And she made a profound statement. She said your goal is your destination and your planning is your pathway. And just like I've been actually wanting to talk about planning since, so that just invigorated me that, okay, let's do this today. Let's talk about planning. So what is planning? I would say, just like Pastor Yinka said, I would amplify that statement by saying your goals are your where to and your planning is your how to. So planning is how do I actualize these goals? What are the processes that I can take to actualize these my goals? And so in every area of our lives, we need planning. We need to plan. I hope you are seeing my face. Let me remove the hat. It's sunny, but I'll remove it for now. So planning is kind of outlining the pathway we're going to take to achieve a particular goal. That's my own definition of planning. And planning is very, very important. There's this saying that if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. So planning is very, very, very vital in success in any endeavor that we have in life, in our goals, in our purpose in life. And there's a lot of power in planning, and I'm just going to highlight some of the importances that I feel planning can bring to us. For one, planning can grant us peace of mind, because you kind of know where you're going. You have an idea of where you're going. You're not just floating around. There's a plan, so you have peace. You are not scrambling around and getting worked up. Oh, where am I going? What am I going to do? Because there's a plan, so it gives you peace. Secondly, when you have a plan, it helps you to kind of be focused, because you know this is where I'm going. There's an outline, especially if maybe you are in a team, or you are, even if it's just on your own, there's a focus. You already know that this is where we are going, so it helps you not to be distracted. You are not going to the right or to the left. You are focused on it because there's something written down already. There's something outlined already, either in your head or written down. But we've talked about writing in this our series of video, and Pastor Yinka also talked about it yesterday. It's good to write the plans down, but even if the plans in your head, at least you have an idea, so you're able to be focused. You are not being distracted here and there. Another importance of planning is that it helps us to stay motivated. It helps us to stay committed and to follow the course through. Like, just know that, okay, this is the plan, we are following the plan. It cheers you up when you look at it like, okay, yes, we got a plan. It's just like this 100 days walk this challenge that we've been on. There was a plan from the beginning. So sometimes when you want to get discouraged, I'm like, there's a plan, this is the plan, let's follow the plan. So it kind of keeps you on your toes, it keeps you motivated. So that's the power of a plan. Another thing that I see planning doing in the achieving of our goals is that planning helps us to allocate resources. be it our financial resources, be it our time, be it our emotional resources, we know there's a plan on ground. So we are not going to be wasting time doing other things or allocating our resources to things that are not within the framework of that plan. We are focused on that plan because we know that this is what we are following to achieve our goals. So we are not wasting our resources, and in this life resources are limited. Resources is not unlimited. So the small resources we have, we are not wasting it doing things that are not going to go towards the fulfilling of our plans, towards the fulfillment of our goals. So that's why planning is so important, because it helps us to allocate our resources aright. It helps us to also make good decisions. If we have a plan, right, all our decisions will be geared towards actualization of that plan. When we are trying to make a decision, we will be like, oh, is this decision going to make a positive impact on my plan, or is it going to erode my plans? So our decision making becomes easier because we already have a plan that we are following. So these are the important things that makes a plan. Having a plan and planning our lives very, very, very important in our lives. And lastly, when we have a plan, it helps us to anticipate challenges, because we already outline everything. We look at the whole goals that we are trying to achieve, and we are able to look ahead, anticipate things that could go wrong, and bring forth a plan, a plan of action, how we're going to combat those challenges that we're going to face in the future. We are not waiting until we get to the place where we now start seeing challenges before we are wondering, what can we do? What are we going to do? And we are now trying to figure it out. We kind of figure it out on paper, so to say, in the books, At the end of the day, it might not be that is exactly what we're going to do, but at least it gives us that framework by which we can walk, that, okay, assuming this happens, this plan A, this plan B, this plan C, we kind of figure it out ahead of time. We're not getting to the bridge before we cross it. And yeah, I know a lot of us, we do that. And let me just confess before we go on, I'm not such a great planner. It's one of my weaknesses, and my husband can attest to it. He's always saying, you don't plan. And it's true. And that statement, just reminds me, that statement is one of my crutches. It's one of my favorite statements. I'll be like, we'll cross the bridge when we get to it, Are you like me? Let me know in the comment section. Are you like me that you're always trying to cross the bridge when you get to it, It's a very lame excuse, for not planning. And I know it. And that's why this topic is really touching me very deeply. Because I always say that we'll cross the bridge, But planning helps us to cross the bridge now. At least the hypothetical bridge. It helps us to think of what could go wrong and how can we correct it. And so, planning is very, very, very vital in the fulfillment of our goals. And if we don't plan, like we said in the beginning, we're probably going to fail. Or even if we don't fail outright, we probably not have the level of success that we are supposed to have. And I can attest to that. I know so many times where I've been burnt by not planning. So many times where I've been saying, trying to maybe get an assignment in or fulfill a project or get an order done or do one thing or the other in my life, and have failed to plan, and at the end of the day I've paid dearly for it. And it's not funny sometimes, because at the end of the day, when we don't plan, there are many negative things that come out of it. For one, we are stressed out. It's so stressful when you are running around the last minute and trying to do things, and that is me. Lastminute.com. That's what we call it. Lastminute.com, or let me say fire brigade approach, where you are just trying to win. I'm turning back here. Let's see how far. 35 minutes gone. I'm turning back here. So that fire brigade approach, where you're trying to last minute try and do things, put things together and everything. I'm very familiar with that, and it's not nice. It's not nice, because at the end of the day, you find out that you are not able to put forth your best foot. You are not able to get your best results. And there's one excuse I always give. I will say, I work better under pressure. I work better when my adrenaline is pumping and when I'm just, let's go, and I'm under pressure. Yes, that could be a thing. It does work, to be honest. Guys, can you attest to it? Please, let me know that I have supporters in the comment section. That it's not only me. Yeah, sometimes you do work very much better under pressure and you're able to bring out some good results. But at what cost? At what cost? There are many disadvantages to working under pressure. For one, it doesn't tell well on our health. Because long term, you find out that you become stressed, prolonged adrenaline and cortisol production increase your stress level, could lead to hypertension, could lead to weight gain, could lead to many negative things in our physical bodies, and even emotionally, mentally. It could lead to depression, anxiety, all those kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, we will not even achieve our best results. So, what's the point of doing that? I feel that I'm talking to everybody out there, and I'm talking to myself as well, and encouraging myself. Let's plan. Let's use the instrument of planning to achieve our goals in life, to fulfill our purpose in life. Let's try and plan so that we will not fail. Yeah, that is all my thoughts for today, and I'm going to see you when I'm done. I'm back. Let's see how far we've gone. 69 minutes. Yes, 69 minutes. And wow, today is hot again. So yes. Today we talked about the power of planning. And I just want to highlight one or two things before we conclude. The first one is that we have not actually delved into the process and the principle, the actual process of planning, but we've just emphasized on the importance of planning in the actualization of our goals, because planning is a whole big topic. So I'll just encourage us to go and research into how better we can plan, the actual process of it. I know we're all researchers. Let's go ahead and research it, so that since we have known the importance, so that we can apply this principle to our everyday lives and to our goals. And if you're out there, you are a planner, there are some people that have got this part down. They are very good. Like I have a friend, she plans like 1 year ahead. And I'm like, babe, relax. You are shaming us, So there are some people, if you are like that, in the comment section, help us, help your brothers and sisters. If you know one or two tips that you can give us that can help us to plan better. And the other thing that I want to talk about before we go is that I was thinking as I was coming about flexibility, What is the role of flexibility in planning? Does that mean once we plan, we cannot change it? It's so rigid, it's cast in stone? Or does it mean it's like the law of Medes and Persians that cannot be changed? If you are not familiar with that law, it's the book of Daniel. Check Daniel 6:8. It talks about the laws of Medes and Persians. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it well. That cannot be changed. Is that how planning is supposed to be? And my answer to that is no. I feel that flexibility can be incorporated into planning. And I even think if we have a plan, if we have a structure, flexibility even makes more sense. It brings more benefits because it's being done within the framework of a structure, if that makes sense, So yeah, it doesn't mean that we cannot be flexible in our planning, but yeah, it's just that planning is very important. And I just pray and hope that this video today is going to help us one way or the other to be better planners, and I hope it's going to help me too. So that's it for today. Yeah, if you have gotten any value from this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so that we can increase the community, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.